Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio with your host, K. William Spencer. This program is geared to help you see what thoughts and or beliefs are holding you back from being your best for yourself and those around you. Your life is only as good as your thoughts. For more information, visit our website at www.ytyrradio.tk. That's www.ytyrradio.tk. Now, here's your host. Hello and welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio. I am K. William Spencer, your host, as always. Today, we have as our guest Len Branson from Amsterdam. He is from, I don't know if you know that I do pre-interviews with people, but he is one fantastic person. And there's one question I did ask him some time ago in our pre-interview, just to basically convince me that he is the genuine article. I will leave it at that. And he has warmed my heart, just letting me know that where he is coming from is a genuine place. So, Len Branson is an author, he is a speaker, he's a filmmaker, he is a journalist, and he is the creator of Superwise Me. So, Len, you still there?
I'm here, Kirk. How are you, man?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Well,
Good.
Tell us a little bit about your Superwise Me.
Superwise Me. That's how the journey started, really. Let me take you back to, and everybody listening, back to 2007. And I used to work in music business. I've done everything in music. Music was my passion. So, I grew up in music. I got to go to all the concerts, get all the CDs, talk to all the artists. I had a great, awesome life up until 2007. And in 2007, I was ready to switch gears, to shift my life, really, mainly because the music business was kind of dead at the time, and still is, since the internet, really, and since everybody on the internet decided that music was for free. Leaving a lot of people without a job in that business. So anyhow, I was thinking, what could be my next step? What could be, what could I do in life? And I was thinking about it, and something I've always done is helping people and inspiring people and being of service. I mean, even music business and in real life before, I was doing that mainly. And I was thinking, like, okay, I could get a job easily, something else. I could do some marketing some other product besides music, or working with other stuff besides music. But I decided to, if I was going to find a new job, shape a new job, create a new job, I would do something that would actually be of total service of everybody, of the world, really. I wanted to really commit myself to it, because it's way more fun earning money and being of service than just earning the money. So yeah. I decided to look at that, and I did some research, and I got into the personal growth and the self-development and the spirituality, and looking into that, reading Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, and watching What to Believe Do We Know, trying to figure out, can I do something with that, yes or no? And at the time, I knew somebody in that world. And I said, you know what? I want to learn quickly what this is all about. And you got to know, at the time, I was, a very rational, very passionate, but very rational kind of guy. And spirituality was something that was not really into my life, the way it is now. I've always been spiritual. I found out later, but, that's part of the story. But at that time, I was just there, and I wanted to learn quick. So I approached somebody that was giving workshops, and he said, well, you know what, you got to join this workshop in Ibiza, Spain, and you'll see what it's all about. You'll understand the business part, you'll understand the content part, and you'll understand everything that has to do with all of this niche that you want to venture into and create a job for yourself. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And you got to know, I would never, ever go on a group travel kind of thing. And I would never, ever sit with people and talk about what I feel and why I feel stuff and be emotional about stuff. I would never do all that kind of stuff in the previous life. But here I was, driven by my business instinct, really. I suddenly was in this workshop in Ibiza with 20 other people, sharing who I was, and it was amazing. It really opened up something huge inside of me that week, and I learned so much more than I was bargaining for. I learned so much more about myself. I grew, I expanded, and I just loved it. So that was 2007. At the end of that week, somebody gave me a copy of the well-known movie, The Secret, which is a personal growth, spiritual phenomenon going around the world. 500 million people probably have seen it by now, and it has done a lot. It opened a lot of doors for a lot of people, and it opened my door really when I watched it. I was like, oh, okay, I kind of did already all of that in my life, but what would happen now if I would start applying the law of attraction on a conscious level? I could do so much more and reach so much more and help so much more and inspire so much more. Anyhow, it really inspired me to step up and shift my gear and leave the music business and enter this new spiritual world, which was pretty interesting to me because I was really new. I've never read any of the books, talked to any of the gurus, or studied anything. It was just all new, and I loved it because I love to learn, and I love to expand, and I love to grow. So this was a great adventure for me, entering that world. And once I enter a world, I always go very fast. So before I knew it, I was 6 months later. I was in Ibiza giving a workshop myself, talking about the stuff that was inspiring me and trying to help out people and inspiring people and reaching out to people and doing the same things that I was doing 6 months before. Now move forward. That was 2007.
Okay.
Move forward.
Len, let me stop you for a moment, just for a moment. There's something that I want to bring out because I'm not sure if some people understand the music business. A lot of people probably think it's just somebody who knows how to play an instrument or knows how to sing, whatever the case may be, and they are in it just because it's for the money. For those of us who are musicians or vocalists, I was a little bit of both, and I did that for a while. I never went for the professional side of it, but for me, playing an instrument and singing is, for me, it's my way of expressing something that's deep down inside. So it is that sharing thing, and I think this is where, even though we didn't talk about this before the show, I think that's something that's where you're coming from, is that always that need to share something from your heart. Would I be correct in assuming that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, the reason I got into the music business, and I've done every side of it, from A&R manager to program director of MTV to DJ on a radio station to a promoter of music, to market music, to be a DJ in clubs. I've done the whole thing, write about music. I've done everything. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I wanted to do all that was, first of all, since I was a little kid, I loved music. Music was my first love, as John Miles is singing. I don't know if you know the song, beautiful song. And it probably will be my last somehow, maybe. I don't know. Anyhow, music was my passion. So, and I've always shared the music that came to me with everybody else. As a DJ or as a program director or as an A&R manager or as a promoter, my job was to share beautiful music and to give the babies that were created by the artist and to give them and pass them on to as many people as possible, so a lot of people could enjoy music and feel the passion and you know, be of support of that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got into the music business, really. Just the love for music got me there. And then in 2007, I switched that, and basically I say that I switched the product of music for the product of love. And now I am sharing love, inspiring people to get to love, to promote love, because as we all know from music, love is all you need, right?
Exactly.
That's what it is. And the Beatles knew it. They were right. And so many other musicians and artists who have been singing about love, knew it and shared that message, and that's where I am now. So I'm still promoting and marketing a product, but now the product is love. I changed that for I got that in instead of music now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit about my background, why I got into the music business. I got into it because of the love for music, and it's given me so much in so many ways. And so I understood how the law of attraction was already working for me since I was a little kid. As a little kid, my wish was I want to have all the music in the world for free. Now, that's a huge wish that you can have, and many adults would say, but that is not possible. How would you do that? It's, do something else, whatever, this is not working for you. But my wish that I had as a kid, and kids are great in wishing because it's not polluted yet by the not possible. It's inspired by the possible. And my wish was granted. Since my 20th birthday, I got all the music in the world for free. Always. I got to go to every concert I wanted to. I got to meet all the artists that I love. I got every CD that came on the market. I got it all for free. So the law of attraction in that way was already working for me. And once I saw The Secret and see the law of attraction explained by Esther Hicks and later on reading the teachings of Abraham and all that, I just understood how it all worked. And I just decided, you know what? I now see how my past was. I see how my present is coming together, and I know how I can put my future together now. And how about if I do it in service of the world now and be there and work from that place of love? So it's been a very profound week, that week in Ibiza. And in 2009, 2 years later, I woke up in the middle of the night, and now I get back to the Superwise Me story. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking that it would be really cool to make a documentary with 9 wise men, people, authors, speakers, writers that are working in the realm of spirituality, personal growth and self-development, to take those 9 people on a road trip to a beautiful place and have them teach each other, give master classes to each other, and throw in 9 important life questions. And then I would, shoot the whole thing, and I would create a documentary from this, what I call a spiritual experiment. And the whole thing would take 9 days, and we would leave on 999, which is the 9th of September 2009. Now, that idea came in the middle of the night of February 2009. I got up, I started working on it, and on 999, I was out there in Spain in a beautiful monastery, doing this grand experiment with amazing people, amazing teachers, and enjoying the whole thing from it. And the beautiful thing of it is that you have an inspired idea, you act on the inspired idea, and from that moment on, so much has happened. It brought me to the most amazing places. I got to meet the most amazing people. I got to learn, expand, and grow and share so much since, and it still it keeps going. This is not a journey that is ended. This is a journey that is still happening for me, and it's beautiful. It brought me until today, here, you and me talking right now about this Superwise Me project that I started in 2009.
Actually,
and very happy with all that.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny for those who are listening. I heard Len on a friend of mine's radio show, and I connected with Len, and this was roughly about 6 weeks ago. And Len agreed to do the show. And it's been a 6-week journey of Len traveling almost literally around the world, at least half of the world, and back and forth and doing all kinds of stuff. But we managed to keep in contact with each other, which is something that Len has just been talking about, is just feeling that inspiration and acting upon it. And I think that's where he and I just tended to connect. And there's something that I do want to ask you, Len. You had mentioned this a little bit before, and if I can get you to expound on this a little bit. You were talking about the innocence of children. I don't remember the exact words you said, but you're talking about the innocence of children and how a child does not no limitations. A child is looking for limitations as they're getting older, up until about roughly the age of 6 or 7 years old, I think it is when that the reality starts setting in and the imagination starts drifting away, unfortunately. And personally, my own experience, I believe that this is where we lose it as humans, in the ability to grow, not only spiritually but in a physical world, that we lose our imagination and we tend to adopt whatever will keep us accepted in our society. So, if I'm not saying too much at one point, can you expound on that?
Well, you said it very, very well, and the thing is that as a kid, you are able to have that imagination going and working for you, and to really wish for anything. As a you have kids that say, when I grow up, I want to be an astronaut, right? Mm-hmm. And now what happens is society, the government, the teachers, the parents, the everybody around the little kid saying that will tell that kid, that's not possible. You will never be an astronaut. You better go and study and become an accountant so you can earn some money and have a stable, safe life, and blah, 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 blah. So the conditioning, the fear, the projection outside of that kid is being put on the kid. And it's just not true. It's just a lot of bollocks, really. Sorry for my language. Because there are astronauts out there. And, and I believe that those astronauts, when they expressed the wish to become an astronaut, they didn't have a lot of people telling them that it was not possible. They probably were in an environment where they were encouraged to become the astronaut, or they found the inspiration, the power, and the strength to get away from the conditioning that is put up on us once you get a little older and you start integrating in society, in this fear-based society. But they got away from it, so they became that astronaut. So kids are so innocent, and the innocence of kids and the imagination that kids have, it's so important to just keep that alive inside of you. And I'm still that kid. When I woke up in the middle of the night thinking I'm going to do a documentary, I'm going to write a book, I'd never done a documentary. I'd never done a book, writing a book. I mean, really, I didn't know how or what, but I just knew that I wanted to do it and that I was inspired to do it. And I knew that the answers to get me there would come on my journey. And they have been coming. And when I did that documentary, I'd never expected in that moment even that the documentary would be premiered at the Buddhist Film Festival in Europe, in Amsterdam, in the most grandest, most beautiful theater that Holland has to offer. The one that has all the big movies being premiered. That's where my movie got premiered. Yeah. And I started from nothing, without knowing anything. But here's the great thing. I'm really good in doing my wish, and then I am also really good in releasing it. So I get something that is even way more better than what my best imagination could come up with. I'm really good at everybody is good at only wishing for the second best thing, because the best thing is something that you haven't experienced yet. That's something new. Mm-hmm. And you gotta leave space for that. And the moment you leave space for that, that's where magic comes in. Miracles and magic. Exactly. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I've experienced so many beautiful stuff happening in my life from that place that I am so, whenever something like bad happens in my life, I already know that it has a reason. And I already know it's creating space for something that is even way more better than whatever I was thinking of or whatever I wanted to create in that moment. So, it's beautiful.
You've got me smiling over here, which is something I love to do. Is when I feel something that resonates with me, it makes me smile. Unfortunately, the bad part about that smiling is as I get so wrapped up in listening to you, sometimes I forget to write down something that I wanted to ask, but I did this time. So,
oh, good.
Something you just got through saying was, you said when something bad happens in your life, you know that it's there for a reason. And
Yes.
most of us get so, I'm using that as a general term for people any place in the world, but most of us tend to feel that something is bad in our lives, and we're going to, oh, I really can't deal with this, and they start thinking of drastic thoughts. I mean, it happens to me as well. And the thing that we need to understand, and please do expound on this in your own words, is never to give up. In other words, is the guy I was just interviewing last week, his name is Roger Daniel, we call him Jolly Roger. This guy's in his late 60s, early 70s, and he has 3 radio shows, and the guy is this old, and he's created his own website, he maintains it, he has 3 radio shows going, and he has fibromyalgia. And all of this, and he doesn't give up. He just keeps going. He's doing what he enjoys doing, and he just says, I'm still living, so I might as well do something with what I've got. So, in other words, we should learn that the expression that we both had is, because I used to live in Chicago and we have the same expression that he has in England, is if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 or 10 minutes. It will change. If you don't like where you are right now, just wait a little while. It'll change. And the miraculous part of life is that you are given those challenges to learn something. And if you don't learn it, it's going to repeat until you do learn it. Your turn.
That's it. No, so I couldn't agree more. And I you know what? I've seen it so many times in my life that I now fully live this, and I fully trust it. And it's a given thing that, if something bad happens and you start focusing on the bad, that more bad will just come to you. And what I do is, when something bad happens, I allow it, I embrace it, I pick it up, I love it, I know that everything will be all right in the end. And if it's not the end, if it's not all right yet, it's not the end, right? So I just know that, and I've seen the miracles happening many times by now. So you gotta allow it. And another way of saying it is, if you're going through hell, you gotta keep walking. What I do is, if I'm in the dark, there's always a spark somewhere. So I look for the spark, and I immediately go to that light. And the moment I start moving towards that light, it gets brighter. And it always works like that. And it will be explained. You might not understand it in the now, but everything is always to be comprehended in the end.
Yeah, you made one little statement there that I'm going to pick up on. Going through hell. Very few people I know ever say, I'm in hell. I'm going through hell. Well, you just gave your own indication of what you're doing. Going through. You're not making a residence there. You're going through it. So, fine. Yeah. Enjoy the heat. Just go on and go, okay, what am I supposed to learn here so I don't have to do this again?
Exactly. And I mean, it's of course it's easy said. But the great thing is, we all get lots of practice. There's lots of stuff in our life that will give us an opportunity to practice this and to actually grow and expand from it. And the moment you start seeing it as practice, and the moment you start seeing it as a way of growing and expanding, that shift of perception alone is propelling you so much faster. Because that's all it is. It's a class. You get a lesson. Learn it. And if you don't learn it, here's the good news. You'll get the lesson again. And again, and again, and again. And that's good news, really, because you get the opportunity to really grab it and grasp it.
Indeed. There was a little poster that I saw. We're both on Facebook. I saw it on Facebook, and it's a little I call them posters. They're photos, whatever people post. And it says, everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay now, it's not the end.
Exactly. That's it. It's I've seen that quote in the movie The Exotic Marigold Hotel. They use that quote as well, and I believe in my research it's probably Paulo Coelho who has written this one. But I mean, probably a lot of other people have done the same thing, in just with other words or whatever. And the message is very powerful. It's true.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'm going to take a little break here for commercials, and we'll be back with Len Branson in Amsterdam. And we're going to ask him to talk a little bit about his new website. Let me tell you the answer to that one when we come back. Just stay tuned. Be right back.
Are you ready to put an end to thinking about how you wish it were and take action? Take this step to find out more by going to coachingbyria.com. And you can receive your free consultation session with Coach Ria.
I love what Maya Angelou had to say about the power of the spoken words. She said, I quote, "Words mean more than what is set down on paper. It takes the human voice to infuse them with deeper meaning," end quote. And that is the reason I made the decision to put my words into an audiobook. So please check out my spoken words in my new audiobook, Your Life, Your Way. The 10 must-have goals to improve your life. It's now available. You can either go to my website at www.coachingbyria.com and purchase it there. You can also download the book from iTunes by going to the link I provided in the show page, or simply go to the iTunes stores and put my name in the search, Coach Ria Wilkie, and you will be able to download the audiobook from there. And I do thank you all for doing so. And if you like to write a review, please do so. And I'm always grateful to be in service. Thank you.
Hi, this is Kate Williams Spencer of Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio. Come and join us every Tuesday and Thursday for enlightening, humorous, and intriguing conversations with my guest, or just a monologue of thoughts that I share, all to help you look at life and your choices differently. For more information, go to YTYRradio.tk. That's YTYRradio.tk. Hi, and welcome back to the show, to Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio. And our guest today is Len Branson from Amsterdam. We left off where we were just talking about everything will be okay in the end, and if it's not okay, it's not the end. We're going to go into something that Len Branson has just put up on the internet, a new website. But before I introduce the website, I don't know if you've been listening to some of my shows, but one point in one of my shows, don't ask me which one, I did make a mention at least once that sometimes it's more important to know the question than it is to know the answer. Why? Because if you don't know what you're looking for, you won't know what it is when it comes to you. In other words, if it hits you in the face, you go, what is this? I don't know what it is or why it's here. It has no value for you. If you know the question, it has a value for you, and you'll know what to look for. So, as a matter of fact, as a friend of mine used to put it, he says, please, Lord, grant me such and such, and then also grant me the knowledge of, or the awareness, so when it comes that I will appreciate it. That was the way that he put it. Len Branson's new website is www.onequestionischanginglives.com. Len, tell us something about this website, if you would, please.
Well, this is really a side project that came out of the movie Superwise Me, Law of the Heart. As I mentioned before the break, I was talking about Superwise Me, the documentary, that I had 9 wise men from Holland and Belgium in the mountains of Andalusia, Spain, with me, and I had them teach each other, and I also had them answer 9 important life questions. Questions like, who am I? Who is God? How to forgive? How to love yourself? How to release and let go? Those kind of questions. And while I was doing the research for the movie, and later when the movie was out, and I continued studying other questions as well, I discovered one question that is really bypassing all of the 9 Superwise Me life questions. And I really love sharing what I've learned and what I study and what I research. So I created the One Question is Changing Life.com website, in which I give people the opportunity to actually work with me personally and live in an online workshop in which we are going to reveal that one question that is, bypassing all the other questions, and that will help you actually on the way to that path of joy and happiness and peace and ease and answers to questions that you've been having all along. It's a fun, light yet profound interactive workshop with me, and every time I take on 9 people online to do it. And this website is all about that. So it's like an extension of Superwise Me and a shortcut, really. And it's all around the law of the question mark, because I really discovered that questions, as you just put there yourself, questions are so awesome, because in the question, there's already a lot of answers waiting to emerge from there. And if you don't know the question, the answer will not help you anyway, because you don't even know what you're asking for, or what you're questioning anyhow. So the law of the question mark is really basically working with that power, the power of the question mark. If I ask you a question, answers will come. And in the beginning, if I ask you a question, in the beginning you'll hear answers from everybody around you, your teachers, your parents, your friends, your neighbors, the government, whatever. There'll be like tons of answers coming through you. But if you quiet your mind and if you slowly get to that more quiet space, you'll discover that inner wisdom coming from within, and that's where the key is. That's where all answers are waiting to be exposed, really. And the great thing is, it's all about your answers. It's not about my answers or some guru's answers or all about that. It's really about your answers, because nobody is wiser than you when the matter is you. I don't know you. You know yourself. You've been with you for all those years, really. You've been every step of the way. You've seen yourself, but you know the answer is you, really. And that's what the law of the question mark is activating, and that's what this one question is doing. So One Question is Changing Lives is that workshop that is based around this principle, and it's lots of fun.
You have me laughing again, because I had just written down my next, well, if you want to call it topic or question for you. You're talking about going around in a group setting especially, and I've been in those kind of situations where people are being asked a question. And you said it, you answered this probably, but I'm going to ask you to expound on it, because it's just one of those things that makes me smile, and I know you've got a way of doing this, because you're doing this actively, presently, where I've done this actively in the past. You're talking about answering questions, or asking and answering questions, and even in the first half of the show, you were talking about how you would never have gone to any group setting where it's just a bunch of people sitting down and talking about their lives and so on and so on. I was at that point in the past as well. And to a certain degree, I still don't like doing it, but there are times when you just have to follow that inner voice and just go with it. And it usually will lead you to where you need to be. Okay? But the question here is, or statement is actually, you're talking about going in a group setting, and I've been in group settings where people were asked the same question, and even like your video says, you're asked, what is your favorite color, and you in your mind will say, just for fun, chartreuse. Okay.
Right.
But when it comes around to you, you're going to end up saying something that's more socially acceptable, because chartreuse, people are going to laugh at that one. Okay. So you'll say blue just to make everybody happy. What is the problem with you being yourself at any given time? What is the problem? Why do people, and I'll ask you that in that, you can expound on that or however you want to do that. Why do you feel people want to answer something that is socially acceptable instead of saying, at least honestly with themselves, my favorite color is this, or the way I've lived my life is that way? Some things you get into a privacy issue, that's fine. But it's just a point of, why not show the world who you are? This is what you are doing. This is what I did for just pulling up the show. It's just to let people see and hear that there are other people that are finding themselves and identifying with themselves and expressing themselves, because the real you is what will inspire people to be either better, or they'll be like the false you that you're putting up for other people to see.
Well, yeah, the question is really, when are you ready to drop that mask? When are you ready to stop playing the theater that is put together by all of us, really, through fear and conditioning and what is accepted and what is supposed to be, and the thing is to really not give anything about that, because what somebody else thinks about you is really none of your business anyway. So you got to release the fear of being judged, release the fear of not being accepted, and once you do that, and once you step into that outside of that comfort zone, really, you most of the time you actually will discover that people will love you more, people will understand you better, and life is so much more joyous than if you keep playing that act that you think you have to play. I think it's based on fear and judgment and the way society is put together, really.
Well, I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt that said this. I'm not going to quote, because I usually internalize things that I read and make it real for myself, which is part and parcel of what I'm talking about even when I do a show. Is I can say one thing one way and you can say it in a totally different way and say the same thing, and somebody can relate to what you say a lot better than they can relate to what I say, and vice versa. But the point is that just be yourself, because people are going to criticize you no matter who you present. So if you present a false face, they're going to criticize your false face. They're going to, if you present yourself in real, this is who I am, they're going to criticize anyway, because you just can't satisfy some people. There are some people that just find themselves in a position that they have to be judgmental about somebody. It's not a healthy place to be for them, let alone for the person they're judging, but more so for that person who finds himself in that judgmental role, because they're actually seeing in themselves their own weaknesses. And before I say too much, can you expound on that one?
Well, you just put it very rightfully. That's how it works, and that's why you can't really care about what other people think. Because you cannot change it anyway. So best to just put your attention and energy and focus on yourself and just be the best you can be, and be yourself as much as you can, because from that place you at least can inspire other people to be themselves also. And the more people that are becoming themselves, the better this world actually will be. We just got to drop this act we're all playing, stop this theater, and become true to ourselves. And it's amazing actually what there is to gain when you are being yourself. And for people who aren't doing it yet, try it out just one day to see what the effect is. It can be very surprising and very uplifting.
Definitely. There's a word here I would love to discuss. This is one of the reasons why I actually enjoy talking with Len, is because we can have a great conversation, even though we've only been fast friends for a short amount of time. There is something that I used to say a lot years ago. I don't say it too much now, only because I don't get into the conversations with people like I did years ago. People are always talking about perfection. And we all have that thing of, well, nobody's perfect. And my response would always be, well, I'm perfect. And they go, no, nobody's perfect. And I said, well, what is perfection for you? And people have different ways of identifying what is perfect for them. And I tell people, look, I am perfect, not in the thing of I don't make any mistakes. I am perfectly me right now. I am where I need to be, learning what I need to be learning, and sharing what I need to be sharing. I am perfect for me right now. But as we were saying, even in our pre-interview, it's just one of those things of, as long as we're living, we're still learning. So perfection is something that I feel, my personal opinion here, is something that we continually work toward, even as we were saying, everything will be fine in the end, and if it's not fine now, it's not the end.
Yeah, I mean, perfection is perfection can be really hard on people. If you there's a great story actually. There's somebody who's saying, I am a perfectionist, and then a teacher, or I don't know, somebody was replying with it. Oh, so you are looking for the imperfection in everything, which is a very hard life, really, if you do it that way. And somebody else was telling me last that perfection is the enemy of good, is the enemy of progress. And I see it that way as well. It can really hold you back. But it is true that right now, everybody is at their best. You are always at your best. And even if the best is not that great yet, you are doing the best you can. If you could do better, you would do better anyway. And the fact that you can grow and expand and learn, and if you accept all that, you will also stop judging yourself for maybe not being that perfect image that you've created in your head, and just accept who you are, because you are perfect, really, in the end, and already now also. Mm-hmm. So yeah, perfection is a hurdle for some people, and I've decided to let that go, the perfection part, and to accept where I'm at, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and knowing that I am learning every single second of the day to expand and to grow. And that's it.
Okay, question on that one for you. And I do want to hear your honest appraisal of it. I sometimes call myself a perfectionist, but only in the respect of it relating to me, not to anybody else. In other words, I'm looking to do my best at any given time, and I will do my best as long as I can do my best. And that's the perfectionism that I talk about when I speak about it for me, not for anybody else. In other words, what are you doing, Len? And, oh, you're not doing that right. No, this has nothing to do with my life. Okay? Your life is your life, mine is mine. We can share and help each other, that's fine, but it has nothing to do with me judging your life. So I'm just talking about how do you see the way that I just described, how I look at being perfectionist from my life?
Well, I guess that's the way to look at it, really. It's the way I look at it, too. Taking out the judgment is a big thing. The judgment on yourself and the judgment on anybody else. And this is old ancient wisdom that you can find in all the books, really. But leave the judgment out of your life, and your life will be so profound so fast. And you won't feel the need to actually criticize and focus negative energy on stuff. And it's going to, releasing some toxic from your backpack. And why would you hold on to judgment? It's such a tireful life to really do it. To not forgive, to judge the whole time, and just accept who you are, where you are, is the way to go. And that's perfection, really.
Yeah. I agree. I just wanted to hear somebody else's point of view, because if you came up with something different than what I see and I believe, I'm willing to learn. And that's, I think, is another point that a lot of people aren't really looking for. Is that, well, my life experiences have been that people don't or aren't willing to really learn something unless they see something that or they can admit that they have an imperfection someplace in their own life. In other words, it's kind of like somebody knocking on your door on a Sunday morning. Can I talk to you about, you know who I'm talking about, I don't want to name names, but can I talk to you about, and going, I'm not looking for anything different in my life. Right now, I'm peaceful where I am. But if I'm looking for what you're offering, tell me where I can find you. still there, Len?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Did I leave you hanging there?
I'm listening. I'm listening, and I love the fact that you are open to learn and expand and grow, because I can relate to that. That's what I love so much. I just love every day for it, just to hear other people, to be inspired by other people, to learn from other people, and to open up my mind and expand from it. So I really relate to that, and that you have that as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is the whole idea of the show. And the reason why, and I've never said this one on the air before, the reason why I created the show is not about me. This is why you don't find my pictures on the show. I don't talk too much about me. On my monologue tapes and whatnot, I do talk about some of the things that I see and believe and I'm concerned about. But the whole idea of the show is because I see it in society. I see it in myself. In one of my recordings I talked about it is we always talk about society as being them. And we're always doing the things that separate us. It's them. It's not me. It's those people over there. It's that group over there. It's anybody but me. In other words, we tend to look at ourselves as being, I am perfect and everybody else should live like I do. In rough words, put it that way. But the point basically is we are society. We are a group. We are a society somewhere. You live someplace, unless, as one of my guests said, unless you live in a cave someplace in a mountain that's away from everybody else, you live in a society. You live in a group, or you live in a community. You are part of that. And even if you don't speak, you have the ability to change somebody's life, just by the mere fact that you are there. Even the scientists will say that if you observe an atom, you change its response to an experiment. If you don't observe it, it reacts differently. So wherever you are in life, you are in influence. How are you influencing somebody? We don't know. But how are you going to do it in the future is your concern. How do I influence my own life? How do I find that neutrality, that peace, that happiness that is all ours to have if we don't try? And this is the idea of the show, is to say, this is the title of the show, Your Thoughts Are Your Reality. I didn't put in the R, but your thoughts are your reality. This is how you will be perceived to yourself and to the world around you. Did I say too much?
Absolutely not. I'm just leaving. I'm just leaving the space. You never know. That's a journalist thing. I am a journalist, and I've learned that the best question sometimes is to leave the space, and then whoops, comes something out that wasn't expected. So that's what I do. So.
Okay. Okay. Well, Mr. Journalist, it's your turn to speak.
No, well, again, I totally agree, and it's probably the same reasons why I'm in it as well. And the most important thing is that I know that I can change my environment by being the change myself. So if I want more love, I have to be more love. If I want more peace, I have to be more peace. And by practicing that, I see my world changing. I see people around me changing, and the butterfly effect, the ripple that we all can create. Even the slightest thing that we do can have such a huge impact that we sometimes don't even know about, and it's so beautiful. So be conscious about everything you do is important. Everything you think is important. Everything you feel is important, because it's creating and shaping the world that you're in. And we can all do this, and it's exciting as well. And I've seen the effects of the smallest things turning to something really huge for somebody. And sometimes you don't even know, but it could be a look, it could be a word, it could be 1 second, 1 moment, one something, and lives are changed. It could be one question, right?
Yes, definitely. You got me smiling again because I've said this story before on my program, but I don't believe you've ever heard me say this one. Several years ago, I was living in one of the northern states of the United States, and I won't identify the person or the state because it's a personal thing. And I don't want to inhibit this guy's growth by bringing up his past when it comes to whatever he's doing in his life. I was living in one of the northern states, and I was supposed to be moving with a friend from, well, I started from Chicago and moved someplace else. And he wasn't ready to move, so I spent some time I had to rent a place to live for a while. And I ended up spending a lot of money. So I said, well, I need to replenish the money, so I took a job. This is, as you said, even in one of your emails, all in divine time. It's I took a job, and it was at basically a call center. And there was a guy that was working there. He's had a bald head, but he had a lot of tattoos on his face, and I kind of, and he actually spoke with me. And I was kind of guessing who this guy was, or what he was about, I should say. And the next day I came into work, and he's wearing a white power t-shirt and with the swastikas on it and everything else. And then I could read the tattoos on his arms and whatnot. This was a t-shirt. And I'm just going, the guy's a skinhead. Then I'm looking at him, and I'm going, but he's talking to me. This is weird. Okay, fine. I'm not one, as even you and I were talking about in our pre-interview, I'm not one who is fearful. Okay, maybe apprehensive, but I'm not fearful. In other words, I'm not afraid to live life, and I'm not afraid to meet some challenges head on. So I'm looking at this guy, and he's obviously feeling my energy, just looking at him and kind of inquisitive about, what the heck is this guy doing? He's talking to me, and he's wearing a white power t-shirt. So he turns around, and he goes, Kirk, I'll talk to you about it later. And he turns back around, and he continues his conversation with his friends. And I'm just like, okay, fine. Now, there was some blacks that came into work. They looked at him, and they turned around and walked out. They didn't even bother to stay or the whole day. So they were just fearful. Okay, so they didn't bother to ask me anything because I'm of mixed race and background. So anyway, we did end up getting to talk with each other, and I'll make a longer story short. And he was telling me that he noticed that his child, who's a girl, was playing with another child in the apartment building they lived in. And the child that his daughter was playing with was a black girl. Now, he's obviously a neo-Nazi, skinhead, whatever labels you want to put onto him. And he's saying, I'm noticing that kids don't learn hatred. I mean, they're not born with hatred. They have to learn this. And he says, I just started wondering about this and thinking about how I was brought up. So he wanted to just talk with somebody about what he was transitioning into. And the end result was about 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, he quit the job. And I asked one of the other people, I said, what happened to him? He hasn't been here. He's always here every day. He says, well, he quit. And I said, what? And he says, yeah, but he's coming in to pick up his paycheck today, so he'll probably spend some time to talk to you. So he did. He came in. He says, I want to talk to you, but let me do what I have to do first. And then he came and grabbed me. We went out into the hallway. And as you were just saying, hopefully I'm not boring you to death over there, but as you just said, sometimes you're given that opportunity to see how you influence other people. And what he told me was this: you accepted me for being who I am right now. You didn't judge me. You didn't run. You didn't fight me. You didn't do anything. You just accepted me. And we could talk. And I felt comfortable talking with you. He says, I decided to go into an 18-month program to be deprogrammed, and I have an uncle that's going to pay $3,000 to have all these tattoos laser removed. That was a very emotional point in my life, and it was just wow.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
So,
and moments like this are hidden in everybody's lives and waiting to be to happen, really, and we can all do this. And if we all start acting on these kind of moments, we are making a change.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just the point of accepting who you are, and then if you can accept yourself, you can accept everybody else. They don't have to perform for you. They don't have to be like what you think they ought to be. Just accept that person because you don't know what that person is going through. And that's my whole point in that.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important not to judge. When you go outside or even stay inside with yourself, never ever judge. Don't judge because you don't know. You don't know what somebody went through. You don't know what happened. You don't know. You just don't know. So drop the judgment and stay with the love and work from there.
Yeah.
It's such a better way of looking at things, and it'll improve your life and it'll improve the other person's life who would be the victim of your judgment.
There was a video that was out a couple of years ago, and I haven't seen much of it since, if at all. And I wish, if I can find it, I will share it, probably not on the show, but in my website and or Facebook, my Facebook page. It was, the general story was about how there was a boss in a corporation who was always tough and demanding, and one of his employees came along and was very kind and gentle to him, and he just couldn't understand why this employee would treat him nicely when he was doing something that he recognized as being tough and demanding from his job. Not necessarily mean, but just tough and demanding. And he thought about it, and he went home and he told his son, and it went on throughout the story, but this was the part that really caught my attention. He went home and sat down with his son, who this guy couldn't separate his professional life from his home life because he was demanding it in the home too. So he came home and sat his son down and had a conversation with him. And after a few minutes, his son just said, "Wait a minute." And he went upstairs to his bedroom, came back down with a note, gave it to his father, and it was a suicide note. He says, "I was going to commit suicide today because you never seemed to give me time. You never listened to me. You never seemed to want to know who I am and what I'm about." He says, "But I'm glad we had this conversation because now I won't commit suicide." That was in short note, and it's just, as you were saying even earlier, even in our pre-interview, I'm just coming from a point of love, which means I can accept what is true love. At least for me, true love is I accept you for who you are, no matter what. It's not my point to change your life. It is my point to accept you. And if I can't accept you, I leave you alone. That's it.
It's unconditional.
Yes. So we are coming to the end of our program here, coming up to the top of the hour. So I'm going to say definitely a warm thank you to you, Len, and you are always welcome to be a part of the show. If you ever want to be a part of it again, just let me know. You know how to contact me, obviously, after 6 weeks. So do you have any final words of inspiration or something that you want to share with people? And by the way, please do give us your, well, I'll just give it here. I'll give this one website, the one that I really looked at, which is www.onequestionIschanginglives.com. Very easy to understand if you know English. So I strongly advise you to go and see his website. And Len, anything else you'd like to share with us?
Well, I think I've been sharing a lot of stuff, and right now I cannot add anything else but my plea for love. Everybody, please go out there today and act on it. Act on love and look through love, through the eyes of love, and do that one thing today that might, have that ripple of effect that is so amazing that you don't even know about it, but just go out there and share and spread love. That's it. I love love. I guess you know that by now.
Oh, yeah. I got to know that even just in the time that we shared before we did this interview, or actually conversation. And matter of fact, I asked Len one basic question before we got on air, and I love the way that he answered it, and it made me smile, and I think we're just going to be fast friends. I hope so. And anyway, thank you for being a part of our show today. Len, wonderful. As I said, you're always welcome to do a show with us, or just have a conversation with me, whatever the case may be. I know you're very busy. Part of the reason why, for the listeners, that we were going back and forth for 6 weeks is he left Amsterdam and went to Bali, Indonesia, stayed there for some time, then he came back to Holland, and then he was doing something else someplace else, and okay, we finally settled down and got this interview done. So
yeah, and thank you. I want to thank you, Kirk. I want to thank you for the service that you provide for everybody out there. The time, the effort, and the love that you put in what you do, as you are part of this huge butterfly effect yourself. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the acknowledgement. It's my pleasure. If I didn't feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't be doing it. But I do feel strongly about it, and I do hope people will open their eyes and their minds to love and the acceptance of self. And once you learn to love and accept yourself, I think, personally, you can grow.
Yeah, it gets easy from there.
Yes, it does. So, I have nothing else better to say at this. I don't even think I'm going to talk about next week's show. Anyway, thanks you once again, Len, and thank you everyone for listening and participating in the show, and we'll see you next week. Be well. Thank you for joining us here on Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio. Please make a note to join us again on our next broadcast. For more information, visit our website at www.ytyrradio.tk. That's www.ytyrradio.tk. Our theme music is Soul Controlled by B.O. Crew under a Creative Commons License 3.0. See our website for more information.